Hi, and welcome back to my channel. Now we are continuing the UFO stories from the Nordic UFO newsletter. This is case number 12, and it's featuring an event that happened over Hallingdal in the mid part of Southern Norway. This sighting was also featured in one of the popular magazines in Norway called Vi Men. It's a real story about the UFO that landed in Hallingdal. So, without further ado, let's start the story. Come and see a flying saucer, said Ola Roen in Hallingdal to his wife. Also, his father-in-law and a neighbour watched the phenomenon, but Ola was the closest. I was only 25 meters away when a light explosion from the object blinded me. Earlier I did never believe in UFOs, but now I pretty well have to do it, says Roen. And in Torpo, similar observations are made before. When I came out on the barn bridge, I caught the sight of a strange glaring light over the southern part of the estate. But I believe that it was from the launching of light rockets from the Torpmoen military camp. In the next moment, however, I experienced something else. First I thought that it was a helicopter which landed on the field, but then I began to wonder. The object was flat and circular, with a height of about 1.5 meters and a diameter of 8 to 9 meters. In the center it was intense red, while the color grew more and more green towards the side. This was also green. I rushed down the barn bridge and around a stack of timber which obstructed the view. I was not afraid, only surprised, and I walked towards it. When I was about 25 meters away, the whole object flared up in a light explosion, which blinded me totally. But there was no crack. The object was completely soundless, says Ola S. Roen, on the farm Sørbørn in the Hallingdal Valley. Here we have a drawing of the object. Monday, January 26, 1981, is a day both he and his wife Borghild will hardly forget. If I had seen this thing being alone, I would have told no one. Nobody would have believed me. In this case, however, we were 4 adults watching the UFO, he says. The cowshed is made ready for the night. Now Borghild and Ola will go in and watch the evening news on TV, together with Ola's father-in-law, who celebrated his 85-year birthday there. Borghild goes in first. It is a clear, calm evening. Walking over to the country courtyard, she takes a glimpse southward. The moon is not up yet, but suddenly she sees a bright light on the other side of the valley. At first she thinks it's a star, then a helicopter, because it twinkles red and green. A couple of minutes later, Ola bursts into the kitchen. "Come out and see a flying saucer," he shouts. "Oh, it's only an airplane," says Borghild, before her husband rushes out of the door again. "When I came out, I figured out that the strange object would be gone, that it would disappear with an awesome speed. When I ran into the house, it ascended without a sound and drifted slowly along the ground. But still it was no more than 60 meters away from the landing site, rooting for a steep wooden hill in the east. It laid horizontally against the ground, therefore I didn't see the underside, but the edge closest to the ground seemed to be fringed all over," says Ola. The object was steered. While it drifted up the mountainside, the altitude was just above the treetops. About midway up there came another flash before the object continued its course exactly as before and disappeared behind the hilltop nearly 300 meters away. Now Borghild and my father-in-law were outside. Eilif Megar, one of our neighbours who should visit him, drove at the same moment into the country courtyard and caught a glimpse of the shining object before it disappeared. Its light was also so powerful that somebody phoned from a farm 6 kilometers away and wondered what we were doing, he says. How did the surface of the object appear to be? To me, it didn't seem to be made of metal, but some sort of canvas. The edge underneath was not sharp, but fringed. It looked as if it was hanging small bits of cloth on the underside. The UFO appeared not to be elaborately finished, and it didn't seem to be solid either. I couldn't find any sort of windows or openings, and when it disappeared, it moved with a speed no more than 2 to 3 kilometers per hour. I think, afterwards, he have thought a lot about what it could have been, but we haven't found any answer. I'm sure, however, that the object was steered by willful purpose, says Ola Roen. When it disappeared, the UFO moved upwards along this wooden hill with a speed of about 2 to 3 kilometers, says Ola Roen, who is standing on the spot where the object landed. And here's the picture. While it was still winter and snow, the magazine V Men tested the landing site with a Geiger counter, but without any positive results. I cannot say whether the snow melted or if it were any prints set there during the landing. The UFO visited us about 7 p.m. It was dark and we didn't think of looking for any prints at that time. And the same night it was a ferocious weather. In this way the whole area was covered with snow. But be sure that I will try to take specimens from the earth at the spot. In addition, I will find out if the treetops will change, because I haven't the slightest idea what this could have been, says Roen. UFOs observed in Turpo, Hallingdal, earlier. But this is probably not the first time that Turpo, the place in Hallingdal for the observation, has been visited by strange things. Anyway, it is not the first time UFO observations have been made there. November the 30th, 1954, the newspaper Hallingdalen wrote about 3 schoolgirls who were taken by surprise of a sphere-like object with a diameter of about 3.5 meters. The murmuring vehicle moved right over their heads, and one of the girls thought that she had seen a figure behind a window. The being had stared at her. Personnel from the home guard Torpmoen, they found a stripe of a length of 25 meters where the snow was blown away. Alright, but no one could say exactly what had been there. It was certainly not a helicopter. UFO experts we have consulted regarding Borghild and Ola Roen's experience says that this is a typical observation. The disc shape and the light flashes are known from elsewhere, but Mr. Roen ought to be lucky that he didn't go any closer, because it has occurred that UFOs have generated radiation. But in most cases it disappears quite soon, the UFO experts say. If all of my senses had been alerted at that moment, then I could have run forward and seized the object, says Ola Roen, who is known to be a sober-minded and fearless man. Earlier, I've never believed in UFOs, but now I have to do it after having seen one with my own eyes, he says. Wow. Think about that. A really, really great story. With 4 witnesses, something landed in Hallingdal. The next UFO story, I'll give you a little teaser. It's called Swedish Air Force Colonel reports 6 Delta UFOs. This is a really interesting story from 1976. Something to look forward to. A military UFO report from Sweden. So be sure to come back for that one. Alright, see you later.